lovely breakfasts and luncheons, and all the ladies were going to come and see each other. But in March, as you all know, everybody's lives changed. So we became the Zoom event place to be for the Women in Business Council with the Hallandale Beach Chamber of Commerce. So I want to, give a special thanks to a lot of the ladies and gentlemen who have been joining us every month for different beautiful segments with amazing panelists. And I am so excited that everyone is joining us and taking a 1 hour break from election coverage. So thank you, everyone. I think we all need to de stress for 1 hour because too much of anything is not a good thing. So I'm happy that we can all be here to talk about what affects us the most, which is our local business, our local economy, our local education. So this is important. I'm happy that we're doing it now, especially with everything that our country's going through. So I want to get started. And the theme of the final 2020 Zoom event is the state of hospitality in Broward County. I wanted to call it the state of hospitality in the 954, but that was changed. So I get it. I understand. And are we showing a video, Norma? Or was that?
No, that was it.
Okay. Oh, that was the big, I got it. Got it. So anyways, thank you guys again for joining us. I'd like to introduce our amazing panel of what I call female leaders in hospitality in Broward County, if not South Florida, which is very much well needed. I'm going to start with Stacy Ritter. Stacy is the president and CEO of the Greater Fort Lauderdale Convention and Visitors Bureau. Stacy, welcome. Thank you for being here. And you're
Thank
wearing
you.
a blue shirt. I love that. Thank you. Our next guest is Rosita Mabubi. And Rosita is the regional director for the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association Broward chapter. Rosita, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And last is Haimara Font. Haimara is an educator. She's with the hospitality and travel uh, class with the Hallandale Magnet High School. And this is a whole new um, course that just started at the Magnet School. And I will make a disclaimer. I went to high school with Haimara. We graduated in 1990, so that gives you an idea on how old we are, which is fine. I'm proud of it. And we were actually in the second class of the Academy of Travel and Tourism magnet program. So we were one of the very first students in high school to take part in in the Academy in Travel and Tourism. So I'm very happy and proud of that. And Haimara, it's nice to see you here too.
I always forget to unmute myself. My students are always reminding me, Miss Bond, you're muted. I'm so happy to be here and so honored to be part of this wonderful panel, taking this break from elections, like you said. And I look forward to hearing what's going on in the state of hospitality. My students are also watching and they're very eager as they're coming into the industry.
That's amazing. And we're definitely going to get into that. But I want to start with Stacy. Stacy, tell us what's going on. I know there's a lot, but where are we? I know that it was refreshing to see that the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show happened over the weekend. And we also had the Las Olas Art Festival that occurred a few weeks ago. So it was refreshing to see some really nice outdoor events actually happening, which, as we know, these events bring tourism, brings money to restaurants, brings money to hotels. So it was nice to see that. But where are we right now?
Well, I don't want to be a downer in what has already been a really bad 24 hours for a lot of us and running on no sleep. But tourism is in bad shape in South Florida and specifically Broward County. The pandemic has wreaked havoc on the traveling public. We are way down in tourist development tax collections here in Broward County, and the CVB, the convention is run on what's commonly called the bed tax. It's a 6% tax on every hotel room that is occupied here in Broward County. We were on a trajectory to, for the first time ever, break $90 million in revenue generated, and that has gone way down. We've recovered about 50% at this point in time, but occupancy is down, average daily rate is down. The number of visitors here are down. It was really nice to see the boat show, and they had a 45-page plan on how to keep people safe. They had enforcement along the boat show to make sure that people were complying with the rules, because the last thing we wanted was an event to come here and end up spreading COVID all across the country. So it was a great show, smaller than in the past, far fewer international visitors because most people from around the world can't get here unless they got a private plane. So we are slowly climbing out of the hole. We were doing much better in early June. We thought we were climbing out of the hole in June, and then we got the second wave of COVID here in Broward County, and so things shut down again for visitors. The good news is our convention center's closed because it's being renovated, significantly renovated. So it's not, we didn't lose any convention center business here in Broward County. We closed it in February of this year, 1 month before COVID hit and closed the county. But we are focusing mostly on the leisure market, mostly on people who can get in their car and drive here, because we know that a lot of people are not flying. But we don't expect tourism to fully recover until 2023. All across the world. This is a global issue. And we don't expect that it will come back with any significance unless there's a vaccine. And we're hoping that we can, by this time next year, there will be one, and people will start traveling again. It's our number one industry here in Broward County.
Absolutely. And Rosita, the next question is for you. What are you seeing with employment? I mean, we just got a very, dire realistic dose of what's happening. We have to be realistic, but what's happening with all these workers? I went yesterday actually to Margaritaville, just walking around with my daughter. Valet parking was closed, obviously because of what's going on. So that sector right there, the people that work at valet aren't working, and I thought about that. Where are we with numbers and what's happening?
That's actually a good question, because that is one of the major concerns with us through FRLA. They, especially with restaurants and and hotels, with some of the frontline people that the jobs they had to cut back, not only because they were closed, even when they reopened, they're operating at a lower capacity. Therefore, they're going to need less employees, and they're going to want to save on their budgets. So one of the things that we do see is the jobs. And we don't have breakdown numbers for the state. The FRLA doesn't do specific numbers, but NRA, which is National Restaurant Association, not to be confused with the other NRA, National Restaurant Association, actually, I always have to clarify that because I say NRA, and in my world, it means something different now. But National Restaurant Association actually has done some surveys, and we think their numbers are actually lower than probably actuals, because they're looking at some of the chains that are across the nation and national brands for their numbers. But we came in second highest in the number of employees lost in September. And this was compared from September of this year to September of last year. Now, we are a seasonal state, so that there may be some, comparisons and numbers there, but in general, it showed that we lost over 4,600 jobs just in the restaurant area. And that's a significant number. And those are numbers that we need to bring back. But the good news is that FRLA has worked very closely with, especially FRLA Broward chapter. I know that we're doing this statewide, but here in Broward, we're very connected with our local associations, and we're working very closely with Career Source. So what we have done is try to create a place where people that are looking for jobs are going to be able to go to, and people who have jobs can post jobs. So we're just kind of connecting. It's basically a free and government supported platform for HR and recruitment. So that has helped a lot, because although our restaurants and hotels have had a lot of loss of jobs. There are other industries that are on the opposite end and they need more workers, anywhere from healthcare to retail, like city furniture was just hiring crazy all through the pandemic.
Amazon,
So we
Amazon.
were, yeah, and we were able to link some of those skills, people that are in sales or they're in customer service, to try to get them either even on a temporary basis to get them to a different place where they're able to make money until we come back as an industry.
Well, again, to reintroduce our panel, because I've seen that we've had more attendees join us. We're joined by Stacy Ritter, President and CEO of the Greater Fort Lauderdale Convention and Visitors Bureau, and Rosita Mabubi. She's the Regional Director of the Florida Restaurant Lodging Association Broward Chapter, and Haimara Fund, who's going to get the next question. She's an educator for hospitality and travel for the Hallandale Magnet High School. Haimara, what a time to start this course. I mean, this is real. When we did our course in the 90s, it was all great. We went to the Bahamas, we went to the airport, we went to the port of Miami. We were taking tours everywhere, and we were the cool kids in high school. How in the heck are you motivating, and what are you teaching, and what are you doing for your students in light of what we are hearing from our panelists right now and what's going on in the real world?
Well, Carla, you know that I've always been a very positive person. And the one thing I always tell my kids, there's adversity, there's opportunity. We just need to be innovative. We need to become think tanks. And I encourage them every day to think. I present the lessons. Obviously, this is an introduction course, as this is our first year. I'm doing to the intro to hospitality and tourism. And of course, I have to cover history. How did we get here? How did it happen throughout history? What has happened? The advent of technology, the development of technology, people wanting curiosity. It came to the point where, yes, we already conquered the land, like the Romans did. We already conquered the land, we already have our trade routes, we already have this, we already have that. And that encouraged a sort of tourism. People wanted to go beyond the horizon to see what else was there to discover. And that has always pushed forward our industry. That knowledge, that need to travel, whether it is for religious retreat, whether it is for business, for expansion of some sort, even your own personal growth, that has always driven tourism. And so I tell my kids, keep your eye on the ball. Keep your eye on the ball. We just need to be innovative. What a great time to be here. A lot of people would be like, wow, tourism is in a downturn. The pandemic has killed us. Now this initiative that just passed yesterday, the $15 minimum wage, which the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association created a great video of, saying, listen, it's not as good as it sounds. This is what could happen. And the kids are hearing this and they're learning this in the media. It's just coming from every direction. The message is coming from every direction. Oh, we're in the doom. This is doomsday. And I tell them, no, it's not. This is our opportunity to reinvent the wheel, to make it better, to evolve as an industry. When you guys leave here, the main idea of this course, as you know, is to create awareness. Because what you and I learned 30 years ago, some people can say it's obsolete, but look what we've done with it. I've become an educator. I ran my own business for many, many years, as you well know, as are you now. You started Fight Time Promotions, promoting fights, and now you're doing real estate. And we have been able to take the skills that we learn in a program just like this one and transfer it to other fields, just like Rosita just said. We're taking these employees who are being taken out of the force, who are being furloughed or laid off, and we're taking the skills they have and putting them in positions of sales in other industries. We've been able to teach them and coach them how to transfer those skills. And that is exactly what I'm doing with my students right now, creating an awareness of this wonderful industry from every sector, from the transportation sector, from the lodging sector, from restaurant, food and beverage, even to entertainment, stadiums, convention centers. And creating that awareness and giving them the foundation where they can build upon as they go and graduate from this course and go on to college and hopefully get a degree in hospitality management and then come into the industry. And hopefully they'll come in with those fresh ideas by 2023 that we need in order to bring back the industry to where it was and even make it better, take it even to another level.
That would be amazing. You touched on something that I'm going to ask Rosita about, the minimum wage. Now that, we're in election season, everything, how is the increase in the minimum wage going to be affecting hospitality workers?
Oh, that is a very fresh topic right now today. I was actually on the phone with our office in Tallahassee trying to get some information, and I think it's just so new. We don't know how it's going to turn out. Restaurants or hotels basically are going to decide internally how they're going to apply this to their new world. But I'm also an optimist, and I agree with you. I think there's going to be ways. The industry is very innovative and very creative and resilient, and I think they will come up with different ways. Minimum wage was a concern for a lot of smaller places that may be on a tight budget or were working on minimum wage, but a lot of our hoteliers, they pay more than minimum wage already. So I don't know that it's going to affect them that deeply. Or they were, with the union. So they had certain things in place already that is not going to affect them directly. The restaurants will probably have to make some decisions. We are not going to advise them of how to run their business, but we may give them guidelines. But basically, I think the increase in minimum wage, although again, a lot of restaurants in our organization was hoping for a different outcome, I think that it's not going to happen until September of 2021. So there's some time for them to really get themselves together. And also, I think they're going to have to decide how to absorb that cost as a business owner. And we may offer educational seminars or different things to help them decide what is the best model for their business. But there's different ways. I mean, it's a small amount, it's going to be incremental, and it is something that I think they can work into their budget as they come back. They have so many other things that they need to also think about right now. So at the end, it may become something that they're just going to have to, I guess, compromise with and decide. But the tipped credit has not changed. The minimum wage is not required for tipped employees. So they have options. And it's just for us as an industry to make sure we lay out the options, and each business will decide the best option for them.
Well, I think that we all can agree that restaurants have been hit, I mean, very, very hard. And now on top of that, they have to have sanitized locations. Now you're spending money to sanitize more than ever, because the last thing you need is something happening in that restaurant. Stacy, is there anything that's happening to help alleviate the financial burden restaurants and hotels have, that they now must be sanitized? And I mean, I think, if you're in the cleaning world, you're probably making a lot of money right now, because everybody's cleaning everything extra. Is there something that's going on, especially like Rosita said, maybe the smaller locations, smaller restaurants, smaller hotels? Is there anything that's happening to alleviate that burden?
Not from the local government level. Neither the city nor the county nor the state are providing any compensation unless you've applied for unemployment, and that's probably run out right now at the state level anyway, because it's been about 6 months. It would have been nice if Congress and the president decided that the priority of the American people was getting them back on their feet instead of nominating and rushing through a United States Supreme Court justice. It would have been nice if they'd had their priorities in the right place and helped the people who were most desperately hurting, which are the small business owners, the restaurant owners. There's no question that the restaurant industry has been one of the hardest hit industries when it comes to the pandemic. And now that they're back in business, they have to figure out how to make sure that their customers are safe and feel safe. Otherwise, no one will go. So the cost to these small businesses in particular has been devastating, and there's very little to nothing being done right now to help them stay afloat. All you have to do is drive down Las Olas Boulevard and you'll see every week a business that's been closed. And Los Olas Boulevard is the premier street here in Broward County. It's a street that we constantly encourage visitors to come to shop and dine and sightsee and people watch. And that is going to make it that much harder for us to recover. I agree that this is a wonderful opportunity. I'm a firm believer that every challenge presents an opportunity for us to figure out how to get through it and what we can do better. We have become a much leaner organization at the CVB. We're down 12 people from where we were this time last year. We've cut our budget significantly. As has everybody, by the way. You know, I'm not crying me a river here, but everybody has had to cut their budgets. But no, there hasn't been any relief. There wasn't any relief in the previous CARES Act for the Destination Management Organization, for the CVB, so that we can keep going and keep promoting our destination. So it's. I don't think any of us thought that back in March that we'd be here still today, 3 weeks from Thanksgiving, dealing with this, and yet we are. We've all evolved. We've all figured out how to get through the day. If we're going to the office, we know how to keep ourselves safe and keep our coworkers safe. But I don't think any of us thought that we'd still be here 8 months later.
Wow. Big event, Stacy. Obviously, that we said that the Florida Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show happened, Las Olas Art Festival happened. Any other big outdoor events that are coming back to town that may alleviate, some of that financial hardship?
There's an event called Exotics on Los Olas that comes next weekend. That's a car show of old antique cars, classic cars, $1 million cars. This is the third year that Exotics on Los Olas has been there. They have also a COVID protocol, so that you'll be wearing masks. People will not be congregating together. That's the only large event that I'm aware of for the remainder of this year. Winterfest Boat Parade has been canceled. The Winterfest Ball has been canceled. Tortuga has been canceled. Riptide has been canceled. And most of them are working on either nothing before April of 21.
Oh my gosh.
Although the air show too, Fort Lauderdale Air Show is coming back this month.
It is coming back this
Although
month.
It is coming back this month.
So
Yeah.
obviously,
In fact, they've got some really amazing talent because every other air show was canceled.
so okay, great point you just made. So obviously, we want people to come out and support. How do you minimize it from becoming a spreader event?
I am very cautious about how we do these kinds of events in Broward County, and they have to run a plan by the Broward County administrator. She has to sign off on their COVID protocols in order for them to hold events. And as I said, the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show had a 45-page safety plan, which was really amazing. I was skeptical, but they did a really, really great job. The air show is on the beach. It's outdoors. That helps, but they're going to have to keep people socially distanced. They're going to have to spread them out. And we've all seen an air show where people are packed on the beach. So it's not going to be easy. The last thing that we want are for people to come here to Broward County to enjoy themselves and then take home this disease and spread it. And Broward County become the place that created this. So Bertha Henry, who's my boss, who's the county administrator, is very deliberative and very careful and very thoughtful when she signs off on these plans. And I have every faith in her ability to make sure that she keeps people safe. It's her number one priority.
Yeah, I think it's such a tightrope right now because we want the events, we want the people, we want the economy to do well, but then we don't want to get so crowded. So it's almost like come to my party, but don't bring too many people. It's a very delicate dance, and I commend you guys for doing this because it's not easy to be in your position. Hi Mara, how many students do you have in your program?
Currently, I have about 165 students in my program.
Wow. So are you doing it all virtual or are you guys doing in class?
We have some students that have decided to come back to school, so they sit in class with me, while we also have the students who are attending virtually.
And your students are how old? What is the age group?
I would say the average age group is between 15 and 18 years of age. I have 9th graders, 10th graders, 11th graders, 12th graders.
That's
I have
amazing.
them all.
That's amazing. So based on what we're going, I mean, it's almost like you're so young that you're not so sensitized like we are because we're older. So maybe their minds are still fresh and they this isn't bothering them maybe as much as it bothers us. So they're probably still very positive and you're instilling that positivity to them to stay in the hospitality industry. Have you had any students that were like extremely concerned or asked you something that you wanted to turn that opinion around and show them that there is a light at the end of the rainbow?
Let me tell you something. My students have a higher level of maturity than I've seen in anywhere, than you would probably appreciate amongst the mass of students who are currently in ninth through 12th grade. Our students are pretty mature. Maybe it comes from the life experiences. Maybe it comes from the fact, that it's middle class to lower income class in that neighborhood. And therefore they find themselves having to work the minute they turn 16, having to get that part-time job to help out in the home, not to buy themselves luxurious items or whatever they want, but to actually help out in the home, maintain the household. And so my students do have a higher level of maturity, and everything they hear in the media, they bring it back to the class and they ask the question, what now, Ms. Font? Why are we doing this? And yes, I deal with that conversation all the time. And I do turn it around and I remind them again, there's opportunity in adversity. Whenever we have challenges, we have opportunity. We have opportunity to grow. We have opportunity to do things better. And we have opportunity to learn to be resourceful. And that is key right now for this generation, for these 4 classes that I'm pushing forward, to learn to be resourceful. Because for a while there, we lost that ability. For some reason, we stopped teaching it from generation to generation. I know that most of us ladies here grew up in a household where we were like, oh, but this doesn't work. Well, make it work. Put a battery on it. Plug it in, where we would get that sarcasm from our mothers, our grandmothers, our fathers, our grandfathers, uncles, aunts, but they taught us to be resourceful. If this is not working one way, find a way that it will work. Find a way that it will work for you. And I am so proud of my students in that regard. Some of them are like, oh my goodness, Miss Font, my laptop is not working. I'm logging on with my phone. They look for ways just to be there. And
Wow.
that is just the beginning. And
So-
that is just the beginning.
Rosita and Stacy, we have a lot of Haimaro students that are going to be watching this, or if not, some of them already on. Rosita, what message do you give to students at the Hallandale Magnet High School that are studying hospitality and travel right now?
Actually, that's one of our missions. We have 3 missions with FRLA, and it's to promote, protect, and educate. So obviously promote is self-explanatory, promoting the industry, and advocate is for things like the minimum wage and government relations. But education is a big one of the pillars of our, especially in Broward County. We have been a huge supporter of bringing students into this industry and trying to build up for our labor for future, for our future of our industry. And I think it's more important now than ever, at the same time that as we want to save our employees who are out of a job, we also want to make sure that our students are not discouraged and continue to look at this industry as a place they want to be, especially if they have the passion for it. And we do a lot of different programs, and I'm definitely going to be contacting you soon to see how we can work together. And I don't know if we already do, but there are 2 programs that we've started in the state of Florida. FRLA has started, and I believe they originated from Broward. Broward is kind of like the pioneers for everything. And it is HTMP and ProStart. HTMP is a hospitality management, kind of an overview of the industry to get students that are coming from high school wanting to go beyond school, either with certifications or a 2-year or 4-year college. And the ProStart is culinary, is specific for culinary and food. So those 2 programs we've supported with financial. We have an education foundation within FRLA. So we support our schools, our Broward schools with that. We also do scholarships. We have been doing scholarships every year except this year because we've had no fundraisers. We've had zero fundraising this year. So we are hoping to get back into that little by little. Mentorship, internships. We have a lot of our industry folks that actually go out to schools and talk to them now on Zoom probably. So there's different ways we try to connect the industry and the students and kind of give them the information and the support and answer their questions and make sure they understand that hospitality is more than just becoming a waitress. It's more than just being a front desk person. There are so many jobs behind the scenes, technology, security, maintenance. There's a lot of different areas that people may not think that still support our industry. Some of our hotels are like a mini city. They've got so many jobs. They've got 1,500 jobs, you know, the Hard Rock, the Diplomat. So there's all these other jobs that are good for students to know that when they think of hospitality, they need to expand their mind of all their different areas that they could, their skills or their passion could bring them within the industry and open doors. And I do think that that's a really important connection, especially now.
And I'm just thinking out loud. Unfortunately, maybe some people are leaving the hospitality industry and, like you said, moving on to other careers or doing other things. Those are openings for the new generation.
Yes.
That's happening. So unfortunately, when something bad happens and it changes, there's evolution for some positivity to happen. I'm just thinking that there could be a lot more jobs for the younger generation as we're getting through this, right?
And new things with technology, social media. I mean, those are things that these younger kids are really good at. And that's where our industry is going. And there's, yeah, you're right. There's a lot of new opportunities that that needs to be uncovered and they need to be considering.
Stacy, what are your thoughts, from your perspective, from the Greater Fort Lauderdale Convention and Visitors Bureau, with the fact that there's a lot of students like Hamara has that are learning hospitality? What do you tell them?
Oh my God, this is the best profession in the world. And this is not where I started my professional life. I started my professional life practicing law. And then I was in elected office for 20 years before resigning my position as a Broward County Commissioner to take the job at the CVB. I only wish that I had come to it sooner in life, because they are, you find the nicest people, the most helpful people. They're in hospitality. Of course they're nice. Of course they're helpful. But people in hospitality are so passionate about what we do. We so care about not just the visiting public, but the people who live in our communities, because we are a community asset. We're the reason that people have jobs. We're the reason that people can put food on the table and pay their mortgage, is because we promote and market this destination for visitors. And when visitors come here, they spend money. And when they spend money, they're spending money at our local retail, our attractions, our restaurants, our hotels. That money goes to help pay the mortgage and the food and the car for the residents who live in Broward County. So we are a very relevant, very important part of the community. And that's an added benefit to being in hospitality, because not only are you helping people who come here who aren't familiar with your destination and want to know where the best place to have Indian food is or where the best beach is in Broward County, but you're helping your residents. And there are so many different jobs in hospitality. As Rosita said, people automatically assume when you say hospitality, you're working in a hotel and you start off as a valet or you start off as a bell cap. That's not necessarily true. The CVB, for example, there's a CVB in almost every destination in the country, around the world, in fact. If you're into technology, we at the Greater Fort Lauderdale CVB, we have a social media department. Today, with what's going on with the pandemic, you cannot market and promote your destination like you were doing this time last year. You cannot put a billboard up in Times Square and say, come to Fort Lauderdale, it's the place to be. Because we know New Yorkers who come here have to self-quarantine for 2 weeks when they go home. It's not some place that they're going to get in a car or get on an airplane and go to for a long weekend. So you promote on social media. And there are so many ways to do that. There are so many platforms, and more platforms come up every day for us to voice and speak about our destination. So I just can't tell the students enough how relevant and important this profession is, and you can do so many things with it.
Wow. Um, you made a great statement about this, and I guess we call them staycations. What can we do as local residents is to, I mean, everybody, stay home. So don't go eat, shop, and cook at home. Okay, look, I'm tired of cooking. I'm done. Okay, and I'm sure we've all done that we cook for like the first 2 months, and I don't know how many of you, but I'm over it. Um, so as we make our choices of where to go and what to do, what can you tell our local residences to get involved to keep the economy going? We may not have a strong snowbird season. I don't think Canadians are coming to town this year. So what can we do as local residences to help?
It's a great question, and we have spent a lot of the summer focusing on special deals for visitors, but ones which residents can also take advantage. And first of all, everyone has to do what they feel comfortable doing. If you don't feel comfortable dining out in a restaurant, certainly don't do it. But my husband and I, for example, we're both working from home mostly. We go out to lunch every day. We sit outside. We go to the same 6 or 7, 8 restaurants here within 2 miles of where we live. First of all, it breaks up the day, because sitting at home all day long working on your computer, it's so different than having people come into your office and say, hey, you have 5 minutes and let's chat. And so it breaks up the day, but it also helps the local community. We have a handful of favorite small businesses, restaurants, small business owned restaurants, and we patronize them as often as we possibly can. And it's how we feel we can help the residents who are so desperately struggling. Not only are you helping the small business owner or the restaurant owner keep the restaurant open, but you're making sure that people stay employed in those restaurants. And that should be our number one priority, is getting people back to work and keeping them there so that they can pay their mortgage, feed their families, and make their car payments.
And guys, please overtip. I mean, I'm sure you guys do. I've given $40, $50 tips just because I know that it makes a difference now more than ever. And I think maybe sometimes we don't think about things like that, but try to overtip if you can, because it helps, like you just said. Rosita, I'll turn the question to you for the lodging industry, for the hotels. Instead of, we can't travel so far like we used to. Should we, maybe get a hotel for the weekend on South Beach, which we normally wouldn't probably go
Not
to?
South Beach.
Stay in Broward, yeah.
Broward,
Not
I'm sorry, Broward. I'm sorry.
Be an
Las Olas.
SOB,
Let's go to
supporter
the river
of
walk.
Broward.
Let's go to the river walk in Las Olas. Like, I'm so sorry. I just thought of South Beach. So,
we get it all the time.
yeah,
Perfectly fine, because it works the other way too. A lot of people from Miami want to get away from the hustle and bustle.
Exactly.
They'd like to come to a different area. I
exactly.
actually heard a great new word a little while ago on one of the Zooms. We've always talked about staycations, but now there's a workation. So you can actually work from a hotel. You can go check in with your family. You don't have to do weekends only. You could do weekdays where there's not as many people out. Because if you're nervous about going on a weekend where there's too many people out, because that's where most people get out, go during the week. Go to one of our small boutique hotels that are along the beach. It's like a home away from home. It makes you feel like you've gone somewhere, but you can bring your laptop and you can work while you're sitting on the beach and, enjoying the scenery. I think there's just more creative ways that we can support our businesses, but get ourselves a little break too. Like Stacy said, just an hour to go out and do something. It may get you just your mind, your physical being a little break and away from the computer. But with Zoom, you can really have your meetings from anywhere. Why not give yourself that opportunity and support the local businesses? We definitely want to support our businesses. And I mentioned SOB. I know that you guys know about this Supporter of Broward campaign. Supporting local businesses is going to help ourselves in the long run. If our economy is good, you know, the economy should be good in the world and in the country, but we can keep our own economy. We can have some, if we spend our money within our own area, it's just going to come back to us. So why not do it?
Rosita, is there a website
You know,
for
we
the
are,
hotels that are participating in that, in the work, what's it called? Workation?
Workation, it's just a made up name as people are getting looking at creative ways. I'm sure Stacy's website is the place. We don't really promote that. We leave that up to the professionals at the CVB.
sunny.org,
Yes,
sunny.org.
Sunny.org?
Sunny.org.
Sunny.
And Rosie is right. We've heard from some of our small superior lodgings that there are people who are coming, they're booking for 5, 6, 7 weeks, especially now around the holidays and with a lot of kids doing online learning. They can work anywhere. And they've just decided that rather than be in New York or Chicago, where it's freezing, they're going to come down here. And we so appreciate that because, as you said, the snowbirds aren't coming this year. The border's closed. You can fly here. But we also know that the Canadian snowbirds who have places down here, they like to stay for 3 or 4 months. They bring their own car. They're not going to go to the expense of renting a car for 4 months and taking a flight here. So we are grateful for all the business that we get.
So it's opening a whole new different genre. It's opening a whole new different door that we probably didn't think about it until now going through COVID.
You know what? Evolve or die. You have to evolve or you just stagnate. And we have had to learn how to do business differently. All of us, not just in hospitality, all of us.
I'm going to get that on a shirt. Evolve or die.
I tell my staff that all the time, and it's like every time, it's almost a drinking game at the CVB. Oh, Stacy says evolve or die, drink, you know.
I love it. Hi, Mara, for your students, what is the one thing that you want them to take away when they're hearing from panels like this? What is the main message that you want them to hear from this?
Opportunities, opportunities, opportunities. Evolve or die. Business is not as usual. Business is now unusual. And we need to move forward. We need to think. We need to invent. We need to create. We need to dig deep into our souls and be the most creative beings that we were born to be so that we can move forward and we can bring this industry back to what it is supposed to be, what it is meant to be.
So I have a question for each one of you. If you had the red button that you can say, did it, done, and you were in charge of making that decision right now, you didn't have to go through any red tape, you didn't have to ask for any permission. Rosita, what would you do right now to help people in the hospitality industry?
Oh man, there's a
Like
lot
to
of
call on you first.
Sorry. I don't know if it's one thing. I think it's a combination of things, but it's just changing your attitude. I guess that would be my thing. You change your attitude, you change your world. So I would change the attitude, try to see things with a positive way, with a creative way, with the opportunities in mind, instead of thinking in the old ways. We need to be looking with a fresh new set of eyes.
So you get you earful from a lot of different people, I can imagine, that aren't very happy right now.
Yes and no. Honestly, the experience has been, in a way, I want to say heartwarming. I have bonded with the industry in ways I never ever imagined before, because when it's kind of like when there's a hurricane coming, you start helping your neighbors, you start getting to know your neighbors. It felt the same with restaurants, hotels, employed people that were looking for jobs. They would call because they had whatever challenges or problems or hardship, and it made us bond stronger than before. We became closer. So I never thought of it as complaints. They would call with a challenge, like, what do? I have this problem. And even if I wasn't able to solve the problem, sometimes I wasn't because it was out of my control. But just to listen and hear and share helped a lot. I would connect them with other people that had the same problem. They came up with a solution. So I think it's bringing people back. And that's what I mean with wanting to change attitudes. Sometimes sharing is caring. So it really is. You share with people and then it opens up the door for other things. But no, I've this experience, as horrible as it has been, uh, it has had its positive moments for me personally with the industry.
Stacy, what would you do if you could do some good right now and that you wouldn't have to wait for someone to give you the thumbs up?
Well, first, I'd like to thank Rosita for her comments. One of the silver linings to this cloud has been the fact that we are all in this together. In tourism, especially in Florida, not I guess not just, but you'll get a hurricane, it'll hit a specific area, but it won't be your area. So you say, okay, phew, I feel very badly for them. Thank goodness it wasn't us. We're okay. We are all in this in tourism, globally, all in this together. And some of the best moments have been when I've been on calls like this with colleagues of mine from around the country, where we just all realize that we have the exact same problems and that we really are all in this together. But if I had, I believe that we have, those of us who are fortunate enough to still be employed and still able to pay our bills, have an obligation to help those who can't. And so patronizing your local businesses, I think, is something that we can do right now on a regular basis that helps people. We have to help those who have been so hard hit by this pandemic, and they're still out there, even though the unemployment numbers have gotten better. People are just getting their jobs back, and in some cases, they're not getting the same job they had back, or the same pay, or the same number of hours. So helping those people by patronizing our local businesses, I think, is the way we can get the biggest bang for our buck here in Broward County.
Hi, Mara. Same question to you.
Well, I've already started teaching my kids how to dream, how to evolve, and how to become the producers of positive experience. Because attitude is contagious. If we all start going, oh, this is and so bad and it's so bad, eventually we will all start crying in this panel if we start listing everything that is not going the way we want it to go, right? We stay in that state of mind where we are the producers of positive experiences. Positivity is contagious. Attitude, a positive attitude is contagious. And I would love for everybody just to be able to realize that you are responsible for the reality that you're living. You are responsible for the reality that you are creating for yourself. Stay positive. Stay positive. Move forward. Explore opportunities and
Wow.
keep your dream alive. Whatever you do, you keep that dream alive.
Wow. This is why I love being the chair of the Women in Business Council for the Hallandale Beach Chamber of Commerce. You actually get to bond, listen, learn from amazing women like yourselves. It's really an honor. And I don't know if we would have been able to pull this off in person because everybody's so busy. So I've actually been able to interview some really cool people on Zoom just because they have the time and all you got to do is open your laptop. So it's been a blessing. Before we wrap it up, I like to do what I call my lightning round. So get ready. I'm going to test you, ladies. Again, this is the state of hospitality in Broward County. I'm going to ask each one of you the same thing. Best beach in Broward County, best Italian restaurant in Broward County, best pool in a hotel, and the best place to take a selfie. And I'll start with Haimara.
Oh my goodness. I love the Hallandale Beach. I love peace and the fact that it's not overcrowded. I love going there. I was just telling my kids that's where I go to re-energize. Best Italian restaurant, Russo's. Definitely Russo's. Best steakhouse, Tropical Acres. But I'm just plugging them in. And let me see. What was the last question you asked me?
Best pool.
The best pools? I would say the one at the Diplomat.
And best place to take a selfie.
Anywhere on the beach where there's not a Canadian standing in a red Speedo.
Rosita, you're next. Best beach.
I'm gonna have to go with Hollywood Beach because I kind of lived on Hollywood Beach literally for years when I was working with the Hollywood Office of Tourism. So Hollywood Beach is one of my favorites.
Best Italian restaurant.
Best Italian restaurant. I am actually Antonio's Pizzeria in Dania Beach.
Cool.
Although I like everything and Gulf Stream too, but some of them are closed. And what was the other one? Best Pool?
Best pool.
Yeah, well, she stole the Diplomat was definitely one of my favorites, but I'm gonna go with Marriott Harbor Beach because it's literally on the beach, the pool and the beach, and it's a beautiful view.
And we can go and have lunch there and relax and be socially distanced and spend the day at the pool, right? We can do this as locals.
You know what? That's another part of the staycation, workation. You can go and just hang out there. Right now, they appreciate all the business. So why not? This is an opportunity for us to really experience our own destination like a visitor would. Because how many of us have the time to even go to the beach on a regular time? But in a time like this, you have all of these discounts and great promotions. Take advantage of it.
And best place to take a selfie.
Oh my goodness. Anywhere on the beach, really. Fort Lauderdale Beach, because it has those beautiful waves behind you. Yeah.
Okay, Stacy, best beach.
Best beach is at the Lago Mar in Fort Lauderdale.
Lago Mar. Best Italian
Best
restaurant.
Casa D'Angelo on Federal Highway in Fort Lauderdale.
Casa
Best
D'Angelo.
pool? Casa D'Angelo.
They're amazing.
Tell Angelo Stacy sent you. He'll treat you
Okay. Best pool.
The W in Fort Lauderdale. The pool at the W.
Yes, right across the street from the beach. I miss my brunches. I used to do Sunday brunch all the time. And that's where they had brunch as well. Best place to take a selfie.
The Adirondack chair on Fort Lauderdale Beach. This huge, oversized, giant Adirondack chair right on Fort Lauderdale Beach and Las Olas.
So it's an A1A?
A1A and Las Olas Boulevard. Just about a little. It's on A1A a little south of Las Olas Boulevard.
We all gotta go there, take a selfie, guys. Okay.
I have a few.
Hashtag visit Lauderdale when you do that.
Yes.
Absolutely. Ladies, I'll leave this last few moments up to you. Is there anything that you wanted to share and add? I think this has been amazing. Is there something that you wanted to leave us with?
Who wants to go first?
Rosita, you go first.
I'll go first. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us today. I think it's great that we are sharing hospitality updates and news. And it's also good that we have this women's group. I really, really appreciate women connecting and helping each other. So thank you for that. And I want to thank Stacy, because the CVB has done a fabulous job. This is the toughest time ever. They always have a tough time because it's not easy to promote a destination. But I think her and her staff have been really great, been a great partner with us. And at the end of the day, it's about us helping each other. And like she said, we are all in this together. And if we don't help one another as women, as a community, as an industry, we'll all be greater for it if we do that. So that's the best way to get out of this. Or get through it.
You're gonna say evolve or die.
I'm not anymore because everyone will drink. Which we all should have been doing last night anyway. I just thank you very much for including me in this great panel, and I thank Rosita for that. She is a great partner with the CVB. I love these women's groups too. When I was a younger woman, your age, there weren't many of them around, and so I'm so grateful that now I can be the old lady of the group and whatever wisdom I have of my many years working impart to women. Unfortunately, women don't help women as much as they should. And these kinds of groups, which allow for this kind of networking, are the best ways for us to make sure that the next generation has an easier time than we did and shatters that glass ceiling with a lot quicker than we did.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you, Stacy. And hi, Mara.
Just a big thank you to all of you. Thank you, Carla, for having me. Thank you, Rosita and Stacy, for the wonderful advice and insight and expertise you shared with my students today. I'm glad that they're also hearing it from you so that they know that I'm not lying to them, that I'm speaking the truth. Thank you all for what you do and who you are. Thank you so much.
Well, I want to thank you ladies as well. I also want to thank the Hallandale Beach Chamber of Commerce. Without the Hallandale Beach Chamber of Commerce, we wouldn't be here. There's been so many great resources to small businesses since everything for years, but especially now that we need this connection. Again, this was our last Zoom event for the Women in Business Council for 2020. It's been a pleasure to be your chair. Hey guys, we took an hour break from election coverage. Doesn't it feel good? Okay, ladies, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.